Hi, and welcome back to The Positive Side with Larry and Sharon. We've been exploring how to manifest or create the life of your dreams. And in a previous video, we talked about identifying your desires, which really is a very important step in this process. Because if you want to create the life that you desire, we need to know exactly what it is that you desire. So, in one of our previous videos, Sharon and I walked through identifying our desires, and we came up with a list which we worked through an exercise, starting with knowing what we didn't want and converting that to what we did want, and then taking that list of what we didn't want and getting rid of it because that's lower energy, and staying with what we do want. Now we have identified our desires. Now we know I want to be a fireman. I want to do this. We have identified our desires.
He's always wanted to be a fireman. And so if you haven't watched those videos yet, you can go back. They're archived, and we highly suggest, watch this one, go through this with us. This is a great one, even if you haven't come up with what it is that you want and what your desires are, if you haven't defined them. But we highly suggest that you go back and watch those other two videos. What do you want? And identifying your desires.
And this one will be setting the intentions behind those desires so that we can bring it out. Okay, Sharon, we have now identified our desires, and we went back to the archives and we looked at the other programs. We've come to this point. We now know what we want, and we have this list of 3 or 4 different things that we want in our life. What would you say the next step is? Now that we know what we want, how do we put it into action?
Yeah, and a key thing that Larry just said is, maybe 3 or 4. They actually do say that 5 things would be the most that you want to identify. So make sure that you don't go way overboard at the beginning.
I like keeping it with the people that I work with around 3 or 4. I think 5 is almost on the borderline of we don't. What we're saying is we don't want you to come up with 15 things, because then you will have trouble focusing, getting clarity on them, and being able to take what we're talking about now, which is the action steps that are needed to get you going in the direction of your passions and your desires. There are many people out there that have seen The Secret or other movies that talk about manifesting their dreams and things like that. And the one thing that they kind of drop is that you actually do have to take the action steps. It's not like you decide what it is that you want, put it out into the universe, and then sit back and go, because it's going to take a long time. So action steps. What would the action steps be? Now that we know, again, we know what we want, and we've picked maybe something in the compartment of our career, and maybe something in the compartment of our relationship, maybe something in the compartment of our health. And we have these 3 or 4 ideas, and we've identified them, and this is what I want. Walk me through the next step.
The first thing that I would do is I'd actually make what they call a wheel of life, and create the wheel of life, and it's a circle, and you kind of cut it up like a pie and put in what the 3, 4, 5 things are that you came up with. So say one of them is physical, one of them is family, one of them is environment, the environment that you live in. And then go through that and see where you are in those particular categories. So in environment, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you? Well, I'm a 5 at that. And with your family, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with that, with 10 being the furthest and 1 being the closest? Well, I'm a 3 with that. And with your job, I'm a 10 with that. I'm really not happy with my job. So what I would do once I've identified that is then focus in on the one that I'm furthest away from. That would be the first place that I would start. And I would look at what steps that I can start to take to get me in the direction that I want to go to. So use the example, not happy at work.
Well, you know what, before we even do that, I think, and I can only speak from my reference point, I believe that once we identify what our desires are, and we have them, in order to put them into action steps, and this is from my training and my education, is I believe that you need to put emotion behind each one of these. The emotion, the way that I perceive the world, is that everything is made up of energy, including our thoughts and including our mind. And personally, what I like to do is each one of these energies have its own personal signature or frequency. And the higher our frequency is, as the law of attraction state, like attracts like. Mm-hmm. So when you raise your vibrational frequency and you're sending out a higher vibrational frequency, it's going to attract similar vibrational frequencies. So I want to raise my vibrational frequency around all of these. How do I do that?
So what I'm hearing
I do
you
it
say,
with emotion.
Right, and so what I'm hearing, because it is all tied together, our feelings, our emotions are all tied to our thoughts. So what I'm hearing you say then is, I'm miserable with the job that I'm in right now, but what you're telling me is, in order to go in the direction that I want to go in, that I have to find a place of gratitude and appreciation for where I am right now.
Absolutely. And as we've discussed privately between you and I many times with our clients and I think in previous videos, everything starts from gratitude. Gratitude needs to be placed around our everyday thoughts. We come from a place of gratitude. Now that we take our intentions that we've identified, yes, there is a place, and I believe in every opportunity, in every situation, there's something we can take from it to be grateful for, which is why I don't believe in bad experiences, because either they were good experiences and we have memories from them, or we learned something. There was a gift in there and we were able to take that from that. So, again, coming from a place of gratitude, now we've identified, let's take career. We're unhappy in the career. So now, what is it that we are grateful for? What is it that we bring? What is it that makes us happy? What is it that we're passionate about? And if we can find that and get to a place there, it will bring us to gratitude. And from there, we can build like building blocks to be able to manifest or create the life that we desire.
Right, I agree. Finding that little teeny tidbit of positive where I am right now will bring me to a place where I have a higher vibrational level, or my emotions and feelings are lighter. And with that, open myself up to starting to take the action steps in the direction that I do want to go in. So it's doing two things. One, hopefully I feel a little bit better each day for myself, because you got to start with yourself. You know, it all starts from within you, and then it ripples or radiates out. So the happier I am in my place, the happier my environment's going to be. And then the direction that I'm going in is going to hopefully come quicker to me if I'm focused and clear on it. So now I've got the space, and I'm starting to take the action steps. So what are those? What things can I do related to career or job? So the first thing that I would say is make sure that I've clearly identified what it is that I want to do. I mean, am I right now working at a factory, and in my heart I want to open a bakery and bake brownies and cookies and cupcakes? You know, it's not just the fact of I want another job. It's too vague. So the clarity is really important, and it's also going to help me to help us to decide what are the steps that we need to take. What direction am I going in? So one of the things that I do when I'm trying to make a decision on anything is, before I say yes to anything or no to anything, I drop down inside myself, and I say, is this going to take me closer to what I want or further away? and that helps me in taking the action steps. It helps. Also writing down, I have a journal, so I write things down in a journal. And I find the more that I do that, the clearer I get on it.
Absolutely. I will tell you that one of the exercises that I use, actually I'll go into two of the exercises that I use to be able to do exactly what you're talking about. Number one, I'm a big believer in vision boards. I absolutely believe in that, because when you can see it, you can put the emotion behind it. Before I even go into into vision boards, though, I talk to my client, or I talk to whoever I'm talking to, and I want them, and again, this is to raise the emotion that's around it and to raise the energy that's around it. I want them to see themselves in that situation. I have them draw a mental picture of exactly what it is that they want. And then I have them take that picture, and I want it to change from a picture to a 3D image. And I ask them to put themselves in that picture.
So what does it smell like?
What does it sound like? What is it exactly?
What are you wearing?
And when you do that, and you put yourself into that situation, and you can see yourself manifesting what it is that you want to manifest, naturally, without any effort whatsoever, your vibrational frequency is now rising. Because now you see yourself, you smell the smells that are in there, you hear the sounds that are in there.
We have to surround ourselves with it. And we're talking on a daily basis here. We're not just talking, this is a one experience thing. We're talking, I journal every day, sometimes 2 times a day, depending on the day. What Larry's talking about putting yourself there, it is a waking dream. So, in other words, people used to call it daydreaming. I got in trouble for it in school many times. Sharon, stop looking out the window and look back here. Many of us have forgotten how, one, amazing that makes us feel. And that's the feeling that Larry's talking about, which is the vibrational rising of you. But 2, that is one of the key components, I believe, just as you and many, many others out there who are living their dreams, that this is one of the key components to creating, manifesting, actualizing, whatever word you want to use, but the life that you desire.
Yes, and I have to tell you that I think every step that we do is one of the most important.
I agree. No, but there are certain ones that are key, and this is one, because yes. I'll be honest with you, I've done vision boards for years, and I like Larry, love vision boards. I have little ones, I have big ones, and when we're talking vision boards, there's another thing, Bob Proctor does it. He writes at the top 5 things that he desires on a little piece of paper. He carries it with him in his wallet. Jim Carrey did that. He wrote a check out to himself for $1 million when he was not even, I think he was just starting out as an actor. And he carried that with him for years, and he actualized it.
We can take it even one step further. Right now, we are sitting in a studio that's part of a company that is bringing our message of spirituality, self-empowerment, self-growth to a global stage. And it's almost like deja vu, because I envisioned all of this,
including the purple walls,
long before we ever had this space, long before we built the studio, long before we did anything.
Yeah, and myself had a dream too. Yeah. I told Larry, and it hasn't happened yet, but when this deja vu moment happens, which I know is going to happen with him, I see myself, for a long time, I've seen myself in front of a desk, and I'm kind of leaning up against it, and I've got this really killer black pencil skirt on, and I'm in front of a desk, and I could never see the name of the company in front of the desk, and I know it's the Amazing Universe Broadcasting Company. My car, if I did YouTube videos on it, and I started in September, and I started putting out there what kind of car I wanted, and then I wanted a car with no payments, and I kept doing the videos, and that was in September, not this past year, the year before, and by January of the following year, I had my car. There was 2 choices, and I ended up with the car that I have, which is a Crossfire, and with no payments. What we're telling you, it works, and the steps that we're sharing with you are steps that you're not one and done on this. This is a daily thing. They're called affirmations. And there's so many different modalities to it. Some people, Larry meditates often, which is another way of setting your affirmations and listening for the answers and putting out there what you want and becoming clear and focused on what you want.
Absolutely. I think this series of what we are doing is really beneficial, not only to our audience, but to us too, because it reinforces what we believe and what we practice on a not just day to day, but almost hour to hour basis in our lives.
It keeps us conscious.
Absolutely.
Because it's
and not
so
walking,
easy to slip back into the
sleepwalking.
Right, the sleepwalking where you don't dream.
Absolutely true. And we hope that you're gaining as much from it, from us sharing this, as we are in sharing it. And we will continue with this series in our next video, and we hope you'll be there. In the meantime,
remember there's
always a positive side. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.